young girl named Emily was babysitting Marina and Mark at Mr. Gray's house when Mr. and Mrs. Gray was away. Emily put Marina and Mark to sleep in their room and left.
Hey, look, I know it's hard when your parents are out. Here, we'll stand guard.
Oh, jeez.
Sleep tight, kiddo. Light on her.
You are nice one, Mark. You are the baby.
She came into another room and enjoyed herself a lot. Moments later, she suddenly heard a car and grew serious. When no one entered the house, Emily went to check and stepped outside of the house but found no one there. She then smoked a cigarette to relieve herself. Just then, her attention was grabbed by the carcass of a dog lying in the distance on the street. Emily approached the fallen dog and looked around but couldn't find anything or anyone close by that might have done that. She nervously left the cigarette and walked back to the house. Inside, she discovered a teddy bear on a chair with a note saying to her, "You are pretty." Emily thought it was Mark's mischief to trouble her. She took the teddy bear and gently pushed open the door, only to find Mark sleeping soundly in his room. Emily then went to Marina's room and showed her the note, but little Marina denied writing that note. So Emily came out of Marina's room and she was shocked to see many photos lying on the floor in the hallway. Troubled, Emily re-entered Mark's room only to find the teddy bear with another note stating "Be mine." She quietly moved to grab the teddy bear, but heard a noise from the closet. She nervously shut the door and hurried out of the room and collected the photos. Just then, the door to another room opened on its own. Emily fearfully entered the room to investigate, but right then someone swiftly rushed past her. Terrified Emily looked outside the room, but there was no one. So, believing it was Marina, Emily went to her room, but to her shock, Marina was tied up and there was a note on her top. Frightened, Emily rushed out of the room and tried to contact the police, but the telephone wire was already cut off. Panicked, she rushed into her room and found a man dressed up as a reaper on the TV who asked her to be his forever. A wave of fear spread over Emily's face. Meanwhile, a man dressed up as a reaper emerged from the back and mercilessly killed Emily. Now we see a young girl named Dina, Emily's elder sister, returning to the town for the weekend. Suddenly, Chad appeared out of nowhere with his camera, startling Dina. Not long after, a young man named Willis, who had a crush on Dina, got off the van and asked Chad to go away. However, Dina didn't give too much attention to Willis and walked away. She entered a drugstore where she took medicines for her sick father.
He said these were making him nauseous.
Sheriff Rodney came out from his house to pick up the morning newspaper, and there he found a box down the steps. He picked up the box and looked around, but there was no sender nearby. He took the box inside and opened it and found a remote inside. Dina arrived at her best friend Hattie's house. Hattie was extremely happy about Dina's return and planned to enjoy the whole weekend with her. Hattie told Emily that she had been babysitting the sheriff's children and she wished to fill in for his fallen wife. Afterward, Dina returned home and met her mother. She then went to see her sick father and told him she had brought his medicine, but her traumatized father didn't respond. Meanwhile, Sheriff Rodney and Officer Butch arrived at the police station, where a lady officer named Dottie handed a box to the sheriff, explaining that someone had left it on her porch that morning and addressed it to him. Sheriff Rodney opened the box and found a videotape with a note inside that read, "Night of the Reaper." When the sheriff and Butch played the tape, they witnessed the murder of a man named Connor Davis, who had fallen into the creek 2 years ago. Connor tried to escape, but before he could, he was brutally stabbed to death by the Reaper. Later, Dina contacted Hattie, who was unwell. Hattie asked Dina to look after Sheriff Rodney's son that night, indirectly asking her to babysit him. Reluctantly, Dina agreed. Meanwhile, Sheriff Rodney told Butch that someone was trying to send him a message by delivering evidence like the videotape and a remote. Elsewhere, Officer Elizabeth Talbot discovered a dead dog lying in the middle of the road. Soon after, Sheriff Rodney and Officer Butch arrived at the scene, spoke briefly with her, and then left, leaving Elizabeth to remove the carcass. Ronnie and Butch then went to the creek where Connor Davis had been killed. Trying to piece the clues together, Sheriff Rodney suspected that Connor hadn't fallen into the creek, but had been pushed. A few steps ahead, he found another box placed on a rock near the water. Inside was another videotape. Butch played it, and they watched the Reaper stalk a babysitter named Emily. The sheriff and Butch later spotted Chad's car parked outside a garage and grew suspicious of him. That evening, Dina arrived at Sheriff Rodney's house to babysit his little son, Max. She greeted Max, who was playing a video game, and explained that she was there in Hattie's place for the night. Chad was summoned to the police station for questioning about Emily's murder. Sheriff Rodney placed the videotapes on the table and formally asked if he was responsible for the murders of Connor Davis and Emily Golding, but Chad denied the accusations. Back at Rodney's house, Dina tried to befriend Max and asked him to show her around the house, but he ignored her. So she made a deal with him. She would sneak him some sweets if he gave her a tour. Max quickly agreed and took her to the kitchen, where his father kept the treats hidden in a cabinet. After that, Max led Dina through the house. When they went down to the basement, she found a box labeled Abby, the name of Max's mother, who had recently died in a car accident. Later, Max took Dina to his room, where they played a walkie-talkie game together. While searching for Max in the house, Dina happened to see a figure standing outside the house in the dark. She checked with Max if he was there, to which Max replied he was inside the house, as per the rules of the game. Frightened, Dina rushed inside the very next moment and shut the door. She then continued to play a walkie-talkie game with Max, who was hiding somewhere in the house. Chad was trembling with fear while answering Sheriff Rodney's questions. Rodney told Chad that he saw him in the van with his friend Willis and suspected that Willis might be the one who wore the mask and Chad was his accessory.
Okay.
Back at the house, Dina and Max were busy watching the TV after playing the dreary walkie-talkie game. Later, Dina put Max to sleep and left the room. Sheriff Rodney was determined to solve the case and arrived at Willis' house, where he found a Reaper costume hanging from a tree outside. While looking for something to eat in the fridge, Dina happened to hear a dog's cry coming from outside the house. She grabbed the flashlight and stepped out of the house. A few steps ahead, she stumbled upon the carcass of a recently killed dog. At that time, someone burst into the house from the back, leaving Dina terrified. Dina retreated into the house in fear and shut the door properly. She then informed the animal department of the dead dog, urging the officer to come and take the body away. Sheriff Rodney snuck into Willis's house in hopes of apprehending Willis. Dina heard a noise from upstairs and moved to investigate it. Sheriff Rodney quietly approached a door inside which music was being played. He opened the door only to find another videotape with a note inside that read, "Night of the Reaper." Dina went down to the basement and found Abby's white gown hanging by a thread. Dina became terrified and rushed back upstairs as the gown was in the box earlier. Meanwhile, Willis arrived and ran into Sheriff Rodney, who knocked him to the floor and arrested him for the murder of Emily Golding and Connor Davis. Panicked, Dina contacted Hattie, but she didn't answer the call. Later, Dina found a newspaper cutting near Abby's photo that read Abigail Arnold died in a terrible single-car collision. Sheriff Rodney brought Willis to the police station and asked Butch to put him in holding.
Willis? Holy shit!
Sheriff played the found videotape only to find that his wife Abby did not die in a car crash, but was killed by the Reaper. He broke down in tears upon learning the truth. Dina entered the sheriff's room and found the wall plastered with the photos of the murdered people in the town. In the meantime, someone broke into the house, making Dina's blood run cold. Dina desperately rushed down the stairs and informed the police about it. Livid, Sheriff Rodney entered the investigation room and ordered Butch to get out of the room in the blink of an eye. Rodney asked Willis why he killed his wife, to which Willis replied that he was just supposed to hand the tape to him. Meanwhile, Butch bursts into the cabin and informs Rodney about an emergency. Now we see the Reaper entering Max's room, where Max was asleep in his bed. Suddenly, the Reaper heard Dina's voice and immediately rushed over to find her in the house. A police team drove off to the drugstore after receiving an emergency call. Following the voice, the Reaper entered the kitchen and found an audio player on the table. Butch unpacked the trash bag and found no bomb inside. The Reaper was attacked by Dina after falling into her trap. Moments later, the Reaper came around and saw video footage on the TV featuring Emily Golding, whom the Reaper had killed. The Reaper found Dina dressed up as a Reaper on the TV, who told the original Reaper that she knew who she was. When she was searching for her place, she found a diary hidden behind her fridge. The Reaper took off her mask, revealing herself to be Officer Elizabeth Talbot, who killed everyone who ever tried to get near Sheriff Rodney. Dina told the Reaper that she had been preparing for this a long time. She put laxative pills into Hattie's coffee so that she couldn't make it to the sheriff's house to babysit tonight. In addition, I made sure to get Max as far away from his house as possible. We see that Willis had been helping Dina all along. Now it is revealed that it was Dina who misinformed the police about a bomb in the medical store. Elizabeth began looking for Dina in the house. She talked to Dina over the walkie-talkie and asked her who she was. Dina told her that she already knew who she was. Holding a shard of glass in her hand, Elizabeth searched every nook and corner of the house for the imposter Reaper. When she reached the door, she saw the figure standing in the darkness, clutching a flashlight. Fearless, Elizabeth stepped outside and headed into the woods, only to find several Reaper costumes hanging from the branches. Annoyed, she called out for Dina, unaware that Dina was hiding behind among the dummy Reapers. Soon Dina came out of the hiding and shot Elizabeth in the leg. Dina told her that she murdered her sister and destroyed her family. She then forced Elizabeth to take Emily's name one last time, but meanwhile Chad showed up and hit Dina with a rod, knocking her down. Elizabeth and Chad began dragging Dina toward the house. Sheriff Rodney called Dina home, but she didn't answer. Growing suspicious, Rodney rushed to his own house. Elizabeth was bleeding severely and asked Chad to put a tourniquet on her wound, while Dina sat injured against the wall. Just then, Willis tried to contact Dina through a wireless phone hidden in her jacket. Chad immediately grabbed the phone and was about to answer when something unexpected happened. Suddenly, Elizabeth lunged at Dina, plunging the scene into darkness. Moments later, Dina regained consciousness and saw a video of her sister Emily playing on the TV. Elizabeth revealed how she had brutally killed Emily and then put the mask back on, ready to kill Dina too. As before, Elizabeth began torturing Dina just as she had done to her sister.
You will too. Thanks so much.
In the end, she moved to stab Dina to death, but just in time, Sheriff Rodney arrived and fired at Elizabeth. Rodney approached the Reaper and removed her mask. The sheriff was shocked to see Elizabeth behind it, but the cunning woman accused Dina of everything, trying to confuse him by claiming that Dina had set her up. Meanwhile, she secretly reached for the knife, but before she could grab it, the sheriff shot her in the head. Finally, Dina attended her sister Emily's funeral, bidding her a final goodbye.
All of this.